And good afternoon, good evening, and the camera is moving. What are we doing? Are we recording now? Yep. Good, man. Thank you. Welcome to everybody who's here for the next live show. I look like I haven't got much sleep lately. Eh? Oh, the truth is, I've been a little busy trying to answer questions and lots of new members joining up, looking for help with their problems, and it's been a pleasure to be there to help you guys out. First of all, let me just say that we've got a bunch of really cool DIY plumbing solutions for you guys today. I went and did a lot of research on, wow, we really got to stop doing that. I'm getting vertigo over here. We did a lot of research on plumbing solutions today. What's available on the internet? So I'm not going to rehash all of the solutions that everybody else is showing. Most of them revolve around products that you need to buy. And that's not a lot of help to you right now because if you're in Texas, there's not a lot of products on the shelf. So what I do have is I have some solutions and we've got some visual aids. I did a couple of dummies and mock-ups. We're going to talk about some plumbing tricks and ways that you can do a temporary repair on your plumbing so you can turn your water back on even if you don't have the blowout that happened on your line repaired yet. And that's going to be key. There's a lot of people out there who have a broken water line and they've got the water to the house shut off. And that's quite a conundrum because as long as there was snow, you could melt it. But now the snow is gone because it warmed up again and your house has still got no water because if you turn it on, it floods the house again. So I have a solution. I'm going to start off the show sharing that solution. Okay, so this will be helpful. And then we'll talk about it again over and over through the show and try to point people in the right direction to watch this video later on. We had a few calls yesterday. Some of the calls related to they have bad water pressure certain places in the house. So I've got some mock-ups here today. I bought some fixtures and I'm going to take them apart and show you how they operate, how you can clean them out because they're just going to be full of debris and it's going to restrict your water flow. So we'll talk about all of that as well. And we have got a few other things for preventative information for down the road so you don't ever have to deal with this again. And I've got a couple of traditional plumbing things here as well that I can demonstrate if anyone out there shows interest. So we'll see what happens. All right. Yeah, you can reuse the shark bite. That's a great question. You can reuse it. And if it ever fails, it'll just start to drip. So as long as you're installing it somewhere where you can keep an eye on it, don't worry about robbing Peter to pay Paul. If you've got a plumbing emergency, you can shut down a fixture and use your shark bite somewhere else if you have to. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now, I think we're going to start off tonight. I'm going to stand up. Yay. And I have a really tall bench here. Now, one of the reasons why we did this with the studio, we'll just back that camera out there, man. There you go. Well done. I'm going to move all my stuff over here. Yes, I've got a lovely ginger ale going tonight. All right. Now I need that for later. And I'm going to just show you what a typical Texas ceiling looks like. All right. This is it. There's your ceiling. That's your drywall, okay? And then you're going to have probably 2x4 ceiling joists and a little bit of insulation. Now, the insulation type isn't really important as much as the fact that they're going to put that in there and then they're going to run the copper line on top of the framework. And this is what everybody has. Now, I drilled a hole in this pipe. Can you zoom in there for me? Let's do that. That's becoming quite the cameraman, aficionado. I drilled a hole in my pipe today. Okay, to demonstrate a blowout. Now, it doesn't look really good because usually a blowout swells as well, but this is the best I can do with where I am right now. Now, how are we for that, Maddie? Can you see that? Mm-hmm. I want to zero in on this, especially, okay? Right down here. Yeah, that's like we make that the camera shot. Now, a lot of people, you've got a plumbing problem, and what you're dealing with is a burst somewhere in your attic above your insulation, okay? And you're like, how in the world did we solve this problem? Well, for most of you, there's so much water came out of this that the drywall underneath completely disintegrated and it fell down. The insulation fell out of the ceiling. You can see the pipe, you can see the hole, you can see the water. You shut off the water, and now you're sitting there waiting for help. Well, I have a solution for you. And it's noisy and it's messy, but hey, it works. Sorry about that. I'm going to just move my mic a little bit. Here's your new plumbing tool. Okay? If you're stuck waiting for a plumber to fix your line, or if you're stuck and you're waiting for insurance to come and repair this and turn your water back on, but you want to use your toilets, because that's kind of important right now, here's one of the things you can do. Because you may not know your plumbing. You don't know if the water supplies from this side or this side, but you can get up in the attic because your ceiling fell apart. You can get up on a ladder and stick your head through there, and you can just go like this. All right? And if that isn't fun because you want to get a little more aggravation out, you can do the other side. And you can pound the living daylights out of that thing, and you can turn that into so thin, even if the water does get through, it's coming to this hole again, right? It's going to be just a drip. And you can manage a drip with the pail. What you can't manage is the 5 gallons of water per minute that are coming out of that hole in the ceiling. But if you were to just hammer the living tar out of your pipe, you're going to get nothing but a drip, and you can manage that. And you can turn the water on, you can fill all the toilets, you can function normally. And when you're done using toilets, you can turn them back off again. The tanks will fill up one more time, and you'll have another round of toilet use. Yes?
The flag's upside down.
The flag is upside down. I am so sorry. That was awesome. All right. Hashtag Jeff's an idiot. All right. I'm going to keep it like that for now. I don't have time for that. But listen. I do apologize. I'm not a flag aficionado. I was just trying to get rid of the black background. Everybody's complaining it's too black back there. Anyway, let's get back at it. You can do this. That'll work. Okay? That is a solution for plumbing. Remember, every problem in life can be fixed with a hammer, and anything can be used as a hammer. So that is a great solution to all kinds of plumbing problems. And I showed another solution yesterday. I'm going to do it again today because I promised everybody I would. We're putting it in the beginning of the video so that more people will see it. All right, now here we go. Here's your copper pipe. If you are endowed with tools and you've cut that pipe with a pipe cutter or a Sawzall or a hacksaw, and now you're like, okay, I've got a pipe. What do I do with that? Well, if you can get your hands on one of these, it's called the Shark Bite end cap. It's the Chinese finger puzzle plumbing. It's a push fit, and you're going to shove that on there. Whoops. That's going to wreck my demonstration. Yep. Like that. Maybe it'll stick later. Whip that together really quick today, so that's what happens. The other option, if you can't get hold of a Shark Bite, guys, you can simply take a pair of pliers, whether they're plumbing pliers or anything else, okay? Or the hammer again, you can hammer down the end, and you can just take pliers. Now, I'm going to get Maddie to zoom in here so that we can all see this, okay? We'll wait for Matt. Here he comes. Okay, we're going to zoom in now. Bring it even more. Bring it nice and big here. Let's keep coming. There we go. And you can take pliers and copper pipe one-handed and trust me, if you're motivated, you're going to have an adrenaline rush. Anybody can do this. You can do 2 hands if you need to, okay? And you just take your pliers and you flatten that pipe out, all right? You can come at it from both sides, make it really nice and flat. The secret here is to try to get nice and straight. Then you take that piece of metal and you just bend it, okay? Now what happens when you bend it is you crimp it. You make it so it's almost impossible for water to come out of there. Once again, this is a temporary repair, okay? And if water does come out, it'll be just a drip and a drip, and you can deal with that. Okay, because the reason you're doing this is because your ceiling caved in. So you're going to be all right, okay? You don't have to go to the hardware store. You don't need a whole lot of special tools. You can literally just beat the living tar out of that with a hammer as well if you have to, all right? Off you go to the races. Now let's get that out of here. And I'll see if I can get my display to work. It's so cold at my house today, I didn't pull out my compressor to nail the baseboard on. All right, I'm going to get that out of the camera shot, Matt. We'll do that in just a minute. Now, that is plumbing repair 101, plumbing made easy, Jeff style, all right? Now, of course, we do have 2 kinds of plumbing that's out there. You guys actually have 3. You have something called CPVC. It's kind of like the version of plumbing post-copper and before PEX. And it is kind of an ABS kind of product, and it is a solvent glue that puts it together. It does a little better in the cold than copper does. But again, it's prone to leak at the joint, okay? We have different options. When it comes to doing this plumbing, if you're at the store and all they have is this, you can solder that on and you have a shutoff valve, okay? That'll get you back in business for a little while, All right. If all they have is this, or the female thread version, remember plumbing all comes with male thread and female thread, where the threads are on the outside or the inside. And it just slides on, okay? And guess what? A little further down the aisle, they're going to have a brass cap that you can actually screw on that, and then you can cap your plumbing. So it may not be the most popular solution, but it'll still work if it's a two-part solution. So maybe you'll be able to find something like that for you. Now, of course, the best option is to get one of these. If you can get a hold of it, you can put PEX in one end and copper in the other. Okay, you can change because they work with the same outside diameter. That's the key. Plumbing is incredibly simple in the regards that the thread size, even from old steel galvanized pipes, right through to the modern day brass, okay, it's all the same thread size. So you can interchange parts real easily with couplings and all that sort of thing. Same thing with PEX, with the shark bite fittings. The outside diameter of the pipe of the copper and the PEX are exactly the same. And so you can interchange and go from one material to the next. That might come in handy for you. Now, slowly just going to go through my desk here, clean some stuff off. We don't need that. This might be handy. We did a video for a bathroom renovation, and I converted from copper to PEX. Okay, and here it is. Regular copper, and this is a female PEX converter. Again, it's female because the pipe goes in the fitting. Okay, and this actually is designed to have PEX slam over top of it like that, and then you can use your copper ring, and you can crimp that on right there with your PEX crimper. If you don't have one of those, they are available for rent, but again, it's specialized tools, right? Not everybody has these things. So if you don't have these things, they're going to be hard to get a hold of right now. You can always try on Amazon, but your best bet, grab yourself a hammer, fix your plumbing, turn your water back on, and join civilization with the use of indoor plumbing. All right. Now, one other thing I wanted to do before we go any further. I just wanted to say cheers to Sandy. I'm assuming there you are. You're in the chat, of course. We've decided to make it official. And what do we call that? Michelle should help me here. Yeah, that's it. There's an official phrase. Sandy, we're going to call it, is it our official channel moderator? Everybody, we need a clap track. We don't have one. Anyway, cheers, darling. Thank you for all you're doing. Sandy's been in every one of our live shows consistently and around forever to help us with our channel and encourage us. And she is making the world a better place. Speaking of making the world a better place, cheers to all the members, right? Everybody's a member. You make these live shows possible. Without you, we couldn't afford to do it. I mean, I haven't done anything but organize and do these live shows for a solid week now. And honestly, without your support, it wouldn't happen. We don't have a Patreon account. We like to keep our life simple. So if you want to help support our channel, become a member. For no other reason, just give us help doing this kind of thing. Every time we help somebody DIY their mess instead of being a victim to the circumstance, all of our members, they get credit for that as well. All right, so cheers to that. All right, let's get on with dealing with what the lady I was on the phone with yesterday was talking about. And she had issues with water supply in certain parts of her house, not others. And here's why. And I've got a few little things to talk us through this. Okay, so every different fixture in the house operates differently. If you have a toilet, there is, generally speaking, on older toilets, no water restriction, but you'll find that brand new toilet shutoff valves and the supply lines now have a new thing going on. They've got a screen in them. And so do washing machines. Okay? So I went out today and I picked up some hose washers. Matt, I'm going to need a zoom in here again. I know, I'm going to put you to work today, buddy.
No, I don't mind.
All right. Now, here's a new hose washer. Now, for anybody who owns a washing machine, you understand there's a great big hose that comes from the machine to the cold and the hot shutoff. Can we go any more than that? Nice and big, okay? Now, between the hose and the fitting on the wall where the shutoff is, you need to have this rubber gasket, all right? Now, this screen provides no function at all, except when you have problems like this where the water meters break. You can zoom out now, bud. Thank you. When you have problems like when the water meter breaks, if you have old cast water supply lines in an old part of the city, or just the fact that the water meter breaks and the dirt from the surrounding area gets into the line, these screens collect all the dirt. So you turn off the shutoff valve for your washer intakes, and you undo the hose, and you can replace these screens, or you can just take a pair of scissors or a knife and you can cut the screen out of the bloody way. Okay? Because there's no other part of the washer that needs to be protected from dirt, and it just really is a hindrance. So if you're having problems or you're not sure, make sure before you use your washer, clean out your screens. Maybe get rid of them altogether for now. Okay? Because you don't want to be running your washing machine and have pumps working with no water. That can damage your machine. All right? It's a 3-cent washer. For Pete's sake, don't wreck your washing machine over it. That is money in the bank, and it slows down the water supply, and you won't be able to wash your clothes. I don't know if you're going to want to wash some clothes right now with the water quality that's coming through. I mean, it's case-by-case basis, but this is great information to have moving forward. The other place you're going to see screens like this. I have a new bathroom. I just installed one of those wall mount towers. Okay. Every junction of the flexible hoses in that tower assembly had a screen. And I had water pressure issue because all my plumbing work and replumbing work, I had debris trapped in the line. And so when I went to have the first shower, it was like, wow, that's a trickle. What did I screw up? I thought I kinked a hose. I didn't. I had 3 different locations in that tower. I had to get a screen cleaned out, and ultimately I just threw it out. Okay, so that's another place you're going to see those screens. Another place that has screens are kitchen and bathroom faucets. All right. Now here's a replacement part for a really standard faucet. And what it is, it's a washer and a metal ring, and this one gets threaded into the inside of the faucet. Okay, and then you have your aerator. Look at this. And then this one, if you can get all the junk out of the way. Look at that, man. They got so many washers on here. This one, go backwards, and it ties in nice. Yay! But watch this. I'm going to get you to zoom in. Okay? There's the inside of the pipe. It's like an aerator. It's a solid white piece. Can we get closer than that? All right. You see that little hole in the middle? That's a pretty big hole considering, okay? But it only takes one piece of debris in that hole, and you've almost got no water pressure. And then, of course, there's always another screen on the other side, all right? That's the aerator. So the water's being forced through that screen, and it mixes in the air, and you get bubbly water, and everybody feels better about their water flow. But that thing right there is your problem. So you can take a knife, get that washer out of there, okay? Take this assembly. And if you want to, you can just get in here, and you can pull out that piece. Let's get in there nice and tight. And that piece with the one little hole, which is like a cap restricting your water flow. You can throw that out, all right? And then you're going to have a bunch of other holes in here. And the truth be told, for the next couple of weeks, there's going to be debris in the line. Until they get rid of the boil water advisory, you're going to be cleaning this on a daily, if not hourly basis. So what I'm going to suggest is take this out, set it somewhere aside, and that should be what your water supply looks like from now on. For the next couple of weeks, just get rid of your screens, okay? You don't need them because you're boiling your water. Now, if you're really concerned, you can change this every hour so the little pieces of dirt don't end up in your water. But really, are you really going to be drinking that anyway? Okay, let's just move on. That's for your vanity sinks, your kitchen sinks, okay? Now, the only other thing you're really going to have an issue with is your showers. So what I did is I ran out to the store today and I bought myself a good old-fashioned Moen, right? Single lever, hot and cold, mixed in the middle, all right? And I'm going to demonstrate to you really quickly here how to disassemble this and flush your shower system out. Because you might have a chunk of water that came through the cold water supply line, and now when you try to have your shower, it's only hot, or maybe it's only cold, all right? Whether you have this situation or not, this happens a lot. So this is great advice for anybody who's renovated, because if you've ever had a plumber in the house do a soldering work, sometimes a little bit too much solder gets in behind, and it breaks off like a little ball, a little steel ball, okay? And it comes up and it wedges inside these valves. So there's a little Allen key that comes with it, all right? And it has a set screw. And you just got to remove that until it's out of the way. This is really boring TV, isn't it? All right, that pops off. And then you're left with this assembly. You need a drill or a screwdriver. That'll have a good Phillips bit. Okay. And you take out the assembly. Almost there. There we go. Take out that. Now, this is a restrictor. Okay, when it's installed. Where's it going on here? I always get this wrong. It's a restrictor. So you can actually set this off in different directions so that you can't get too much heat. Anyway, that's a side note. You take out that cover, and then you have to undo the 2 main screws, which are attaching the wall plate to the valve body. All right? Woohoo! That was a good noise. All right. Now that slides off, and you can get this out of your way. Now we're back to the brass. Now this little ring up here, it's a big U-clamp ring, and that holds your valve in position so it doesn't get blown out of the wall and kill somebody while you have the water on. So there's a couple of techniques for this. One of them, you can just use a pair of pliers and you can lift it up. Or if it's older and a little more cruddier, you can use a screwdriver and wedge it. Set that ring aside. Now, this handle here has got a flat section on 2 sides. I'm going to suggest that you get yourself a pair of plumbing pliers like this. They pinch and you just pull. Now that looked easy. Trust me, the older that is, the harder it is. So don't be too hard on yourself. Oh, Jeff made it look so easy. No, it's supposed to be coated and lubricated, okay? The longer it's been there, the less lubrication, the more you're going to have to yank on it. But look at this. Inside this valve, we've got a relatively significant hole. Can we zoom in here, actually? This is really good education. And I try to tell people, yeah, there we go. The hole, the diameter of the hole that's on the inlet valve is actually less than half of the size of the pipe. Okay? So if you want to know why you don't have water coming to your shower head, culprit number 1. Okay? Culprit number 2, here's the valve. Now, there is an intake here for the hot and the cold, and there are different depths inside the valve. And as you turn this around, you mix the hot and the cold together. There's little intake and outtakes all over the place here. And all of these things can get filled up with crud. So you take this out, you get it under your sink, and you just start slapping it around underneath the water, knock all the dirt out of that sucker, okay? Give this a good flush, and then you can shove it right back in. Now, this is labeled up in case you're putting it in for the first time. And so is this, I believe. Hot and cold, yes. Hot's on the left, cold's on the right. Slide it right back in place. And you can put this cartridge pin back in. Okay. And then slide all this back on. Where are we going? Now, I'm not going to assemble the rest of the valve. You get the idea, right? If you want to see more of this, you can always watch one of our videos and finger tighten these. These machine screws are really easily cross-threaded, okay? So before you pull out a drill, finger tighten them. Anyway, we have bathroom renovation videos to show you how to do all of this, and you can be a bathroom renovation pro too. And that's all there is to it. Now, if you have cleaned out all of your lines, don't be under the impression that you're done. All right? Until the city lifts the boil water advisory, you're probably going to be stuck doing this over and over and over again. I'm just going to assemble this because I might be able to use this in the new house project we're doing. There we go. So you might have to do this daily for the next little while, okay? So don't be discouraged. It only takes a couple minutes, and you can be your own plumber, all right? Now, if you have a different kind of cartridge, I'm going to run through this real quick because not everybody owns a Moen. Some people own a Delta. I'm going to just pick on the 2 most popular kinds. This is similar. This is a Delta cartridge. It's totally different. And there are 100 or more than 100 different companies making plumbing products, and they're all a little different, but they all have the same basic concept. They have a washer, okay? You have cold and hot, and then the mix coming through here. And they redirect water, and you might get dirt in here. Now, the way we get into here is by using this little knife here. We pry up the side. I'm going to get you to zoom in, Matt. We're going to show everybody how to do this properly.
Someone's asking if you can actually blow out all the compressor in your house.
Possibly, but
would that make the job easier?
Maybe, depending on the dirt. Yeah. But you want to open it first, right? That's the secret. A compressed air is maybe going to hurt it. This is a removable gasket here. Okay. Let me just show you here. This bad boy comes out. Okay. And if it's damaged or scratched in a little bit, it could be useless. Okay. But you can get that out. And we have this here. This is like a little saddle it sits in. Okay. Here's a moving part, right? You got a ball there. There's all more moving parts. Look at the totality that this comes apart. Okay. There's another washer in here. Okay. This one comes out too. All right. Every part of this component factory here can trap dirt, and that's going to restrict your flow, and it's going to mess with your mind going, what's going on? Do I have another leak? I don't want you having panic attacks. All right. You will know if you have a leak because water will show up on your floor or in your ceiling or in your wall. If you have water flow issues, it's probably just dirt in your plumbing. Hopefully that helps. I'm going to put all this back together another day, and I'm going to be kind enough to return that back to Home Depot and get my money back. Thank you, Home Depot, for allowing me to return products that I've demonstrated on my videos. We'll see what happens with that. All right. Other issues. Let's deal with this. Plumbing. If you've never seen something like this before, there's a reason for it. You don't usually use these down in Texas, but this is what we call a frost-free hose. And I have a video where I go through this, how to winterize your home, and I talk about this in depth. But just to show you the basics of it, yeah, it's steel, and if there's water in here, it would have blown up and frozen and exploded too. The difference is this. If you were one of the homes that didn't lose your power altogether and you're able to keep some heat going, chances are your hose bib still blew up because it was on the wrong side of the insulation. It could have blown up right here in the wall, okay? One of these taps has the gasket way here on the inside. So you've got all that room to insulate your wall, and then there's a faucet, okay? Now, if you were a house that had no heat at all, this isn't not going to solve your problem. But majority of people did not lose power consistently for 3 days, or they had a secondary heat source. This is definitely something worth looking into, especially if you have a generator, because you're not going to lose your heat. But this is what we call, up here in our northern country, normal use. And this is standard equipment, all right? You will not get through a winter without one of these, without blowing up your basement plumbing. And so I'm going to make the recommendation. If you're looking for a best case scenario, something like this is definitely going to save your bacon. Okay, now, hey, Matt, can I get you to do me a favor?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in my little wall demonstration here. What I need really badly is like a tall glass of water.
Sure.
Okay, thanks. All right. Other issues, fix the flag. You probably got a point. This is probably going to really irk some people, huh? Let's see if we can fix that right now. I don't mind making a mistake and fixing it. Here we go. To be totally honest, it was tricky enough putting this on the first time. There we are. All right. Yeah, and last thing you want to do is be offending folks with guns about how their flag is hung, right? Sorry about that. That was my bad completely. Risley Painting is in the house. Cheers. All right. Well, Matt's going to get me some water because we're going to talk about some other issues going on with what happened, and that is the condition of your walls on behind the drywall. I want to show you what's actually going to happen to your house and what you can expect to happen to your house moving forward if you don't get it fixed. I'm going to show you some secrets from the industry on how we deal with situations like this when we have water in the house to make sure everything gets dry. Because if you're one of these folks who's waiting to hear back from the insurance company and nothing's going on, you might be in a bit of a surprise dealing with some mold later. Thanks, buddy. All right. Now, first of all, I did a little mock-up. This is just 2x4, 16-inch on center with insulation. Let's assume that your house down in Texas is insulated. This is the inside. This is your baseboard. Okay. I was going to grab some plexiglass so that I could do the backside and then pour the water and then everybody be able to see what happened. Sound like a good idea at the time, eh? You think I could find plexiglass at Home Depot during COVID? Oh, Matt, I need one more thing. Let's get a bath towel.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to make a mess. All right. Okay. Yeah, if you can get one, shark bites are great. Sandy's giving everybody a heck because if you're watching this, you haven't hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Send the signal to YouTube. And don't forget that we are trying to raise money for the Feeding Texas Foundation. Okay. Every dollar goes a lot further when they buy food on everyone's behalf. And it's going to go a long way to help all those folks who are suffering. Trust me, there's a lot of them. The more news we get, the more we're finding out there are a lot of people who are not getting the insurance company even to get to their house yet because there's a lot of them that aren't covered for this particular flood. All right. Whoa, careful. Hey, just about disconnected our live feed. Right on. Now, we're going to do a little demonstration here. This is a little crazy. All right. But there's like another kind of water damage that nobody really talked about. And that is water that goes down the exterior wall. Now remember, if this is your ceiling, water busted through that pipe and it went into the drywall and it traveled in both directions of your ceiling joist package. Okay? And it would empty out in an outside wall joist package. And some people don't even know they had water that went in the wall. I'm blocking the light. Okay, sorry. Some people don't even know they had water going into their wall. And so I'm going to just demonstrate what it looks like when you put water in a wall. And this is just one glass, all right? We're going to learn this together. This will be fun. Okay, I'm just going to pour it onto my fiberglass insulation. All right. Now that doesn't look that dramatic, does it? Little bit of water. No big deal. Okay, we're going to give that a minute.
Shall we just grab another glass, baby?
You want to do that?
More dramatic
effect. We'll do another glass of water. Why not? Now, what I want you to realize is there's not a lot of water coming out of this yet. The insulation is holding most of it. My towel is still dry. Okay? And this is what I want everybody to get through their head here, is the impact of this. Yeah, a little bit more water. We're going to get a more dramatic effect for sure. Exterior insulation needs to fit tight up to the top plate. Okay? If it gets a little bit of water in there, all right, what ends up happening is, you see this, how heavy this is? It's losing its sponge. As soon as Matt gets back, we'll do the next one and you'll see it. Hey, cheers, William, for your donation to Feeding Texas. Appreciate that. Guys, if you can, we're over $3,000 now. It's awesome. Last couple of days, you really stepped up, and I really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Whoa. I don't know if I need that much. All right, here we go. We're going to go with another cup. And we're going to let the insulation soak it all up. I'm making a bit of a mess over here by over pouring. Look at that. That's 3 whole glasses so far. All right. Now, if anybody saw my video where I showed the difference between this kind of insulation and rock wool, you're going to have an idea what's going to happen here. Now, that's 24 ounces of water, all right? That's a lot of water. Now, pink looks good, but look at the very top. Look how dark it's getting. And it's starting to sag. When I first pulled this thing out, the pink insulation was above the 2x4s. Okay? Can you see that? Now, what you have now, if this is the top of the roof, is you have an air cavity. Now, in the summertime, if you don't get this removed, you're going to have condensation in your wall where your air conditioning meets the hot air from outside. And that condensation is going to continue to create moisture in this cavity. And then you're going to have a year-round cycle of condensation in that wall, which is guaranteed to develop your mold. All right? Now, just for fun, let's pull this soaking wet schlop out of here. Okay? Here. Now, I'm going to see how much water that was actually holding. Yep, all of it. Aside from a little bit in the mat here, it was all in there. Wow. Okay, that's it for that demonstration. Get that out of the way. Now, let's try to clean as we go here, buddy. So what we know is this. Insulation in a wall is a sponge, okay? It's going to pull in a ton of water. Now, that sponge doesn't release the water, it just holds it against the wood. Now, in Texas, your wood and your drywall are in direct contact, which means that that sponge, the insulation that's holding the water there, it's making it impossible for the wood to dry. It's making it impossible for the drywall to dry. Now, if you were with us yesterday, you saw me do this. I have my little sample. We're letting it sit overnight in water. Okay, here we are today. Remember, I broke this piece of drywall off at the end of the show yesterday.
Mhm.
Solid as a rock again. Dried out because it wasn't sitting in water. Drywall will dry out if it's not sitting in water. Okay? Like, remember how easy I just ripped that off? Ugh. And it's fully intact. It's got full integrity again. That's the miracle of this stuff. This is butter. Like, there's nothing here. What I wanted to show you with this exercise is the need to get this dry. Okay? A lot of people don't understand the concept of the building material. Let's just get rid of that. I'm done with that altogether now. All right? So I'm going to show you a couple of industry secrets from restoration business. Why in the world can I not get that? About how we like to dry our walls. Okay? A, cut your caulking line with a knife on your baseboards. Take a red bar, peel your baseboards off. Now, once the baseboards are off, you got a caulking line on your wall. So you know when you're all done with your drying process, what the height that baseboard is going to get installed again. Makes sense? So now you've got all this room here to work with. Now, we know that the 2x4 on the bottom is 1.5 inches thick, okay? And so you've got this space. And you can just drill holes, okay? Here we go. You can use a stud finder and travel along, mark your stud, and drill your holes in between. Okay? Nice and easy. 20 bucks. Drill holes all along the wall in your basement. And if you don't find any fiberglass pink there, that means your walls aren't insulated. That makes it easier for you to dry. If they are insulated, then reach in and check. If it's dry, then you're good. But you need to know if one of these stud bays is wet. Did water come from up top? Because there's two ways to get water in a wall. One is from a leak in the ceiling and it travels and falls down. One was from ice damming on the roof. A lot of people have got a roof and the ice built up and then it started to melt in the sun and it crawled up underneath the other ice, beneath the shingle. And it came in and went into your wall cavity and the wall started to get these little sag marks, okay? Those people have got water in their insulation. And depending on how much water, you saw 3 cups, that's not a lot. They can have an empty void and then a mold factor growing on, okay? So just a little bit of a situation here. When you're all done, you've run the fans for a few days, okay, and everything's back to normal because drywall dries out. You can reinstall all your baseboards. A couple of brad nails, quick caulking job, you're back in business, okay? It does not cost you any dime. It will not damage your house. Just open up, drill some holes, and investigate and make sure you're nice and dry. All right? It can protect you from a massive mold event. And if you have a massive mold event, you're going to get kicked out of your house while they come and fix it up. Right? And if it's directly related to the flood and you weren't covered for the flood, you probably won't be covered for the mold remediation either. And that'll destroy your home. Right? Most people do not have the finances to deal with that kind of trauma on their own without help from the insurance company. So do yourself a favor. If you're waiting for them to answer whether or not you're insured, pull these off. Make sure that you have the ability to dry out your drywall. Because if you just get it exposed so that it can dry out, 24 hours at room temperature will do the job if it's not that wet. And if it's really soaking wet, having a fan blowing for a couple of days will do the job and you'll still be okay. All right? Now, I want to get rid of my little props here. Right down here. Okay, Matty T. What's that? My house has rock wool. Will the same thing happen to me? Jeremy, that's a hell of a question. No, it won't. Here's the thing. Rock wool has a different characteristic, okay? It doesn't actually absorb the water. It won't soak it up and hold it, and it doesn't shrink in the wall. Just the fiberglass does. So I know I'm not a proponent of you got to use rock wool no matter what because it's just so amazing. But in this case, it actually is quite beneficial. Now, if you have rock wool and you drill holes and you find rock wool and it's wet underneath, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take something and like get your hand in there and lift the rock wool out of the way. do something to allow that wood to have access to the air. The more wood that has contact with air, the more air circulating, the more you're going to speed up the drying process. And because it's relative humidity-based drying program that we're dealing with, the time of year is good. You don't have a lot of humid weather. If you have a fan blowing and you have maybe 10 or 15% of your wood exposed, all of the wood will leave, all the water will leave to go to that part that's dry. Okay, it'll dissipate. So you'll have 100% humidity in one part of the board, and then the fan will turn on and it'll start to dry, and it'll just draw all the water to that open hole. So doing that baseboard technique can save your bacon. All right. Now, guys, I can't give you guarantees on the result. I don't know the extent of every single situation. Trying to give you the basics of the drying process and mediation and mitigation. At the end of the day, not everybody's going to have the best insurance coverage and then be in the same boat. There are about 4 different kinds of people in Texas right now. Those who weren't affected, those who are mildly affected and inconvenienced and annoyed, those who had trauma and were fully insured, and those who had trauma who are sitting back waiting to find out if the insurance is going to help them. I'm kind of preaching to you tonight because give it a couple more days. We're about a week into this mess. And if you're sitting around with wet material and it's not drying out, you can really be up the creek without a paddle, right? All right. I got a lot of crap on here I don't think I'm going to get to. And that's fine. I didn't need to get to everything tonight. Okay. I'll clean up my mess later. Let's sit down and have a chat. Now, with all that being said, we've got 450 some odd people in the show tonight. I know that some of you were looking forward to giving us a call, and we're going to take calls in just a couple minutes. I just want to get caught up with the conversation. Has anybody been asking questions in the chat that we want to get to, Matt? Do we have somebody here? Yeah, Carrie. Carrie's a member. How do you replace the bottom plate located on the wall behind the sink of a bathroom? It was damaged by termites. That's a different mess. You can cut open that wall and you can replace a plate one little bit at a time and not negatively affect your structure. So don't worry about that, Carrie. That's just good old-fashioned basic carpentry. Yeah, you know, if you want to send me a picture, put it in the forum, then I can give you a proper process and my interpretation of it. Picture of the bathroom and then a picture of the house, how it's built. Just so I know if it's going to be a structural wall or not. I'd appreciate that, and I can give you a much better, step by step. Okay, cheers. Allie's Corner. I won't lie, I went and stupidly stocked up on meat and refrigerated stuff. Right? Oh, so did you eat like a pig, or you got packed outside in coolers? Good. So at least you didn't get it thrown in the garbage. That's good. My goodness. While I'm talking about all this, let's talk about moving forward, right? We talked about the hose bibs. Moving forward, get PEX, right? Enough copper. I mean, I even saw, my wife told me today, a social media post, Chip and Joanna Gaines down in Texas, they got a restaurant. And, their copper line blew up too. They have it in the attic, just like everybody else. And so, this storm did not pick and choose winners and losers by accident. It just took advantage of everybody that had a copper pipe sitting on top of the insulation was exposed to that cold weather. There's just nothing you could have done if you didn't shut off the water to your house before this happened, which probably would have been one hell of a great mitigation concept. I mean, think about it. Post the storm, you don't have water, right? You're all melting snow to flush a toilet. It would have made sense if they just told everybody to fill their tub, get a few pails of water for flushing your toilet, and turn off the water and drain your lines. None of this would have happened. I'm not going to judge, but really? Anyway, all we can do is move forward. And, I'll leave up to Texans to determine public policy for Texas in the future. But honestly, I'm pretty sure anybody in North America, hell, even Mexico is looking at this going, maybe we should be thinking about how we're doing stuff. Like maybe, because that's crazy. I mean, we're not too darn far from the Mexican border with this kind of weather. They might even experience some of it. I shouldn't even just, joke that off. I'm not exactly sure how far south it went. Yeah, soaked insulation isn't a problem that just goes away on its own. So if you have rock wool, it's fine. It'll dry, but it just takes forever and it'll probably go moldy in the meantime. because you don't have a plastic vapor barrier like we use in the north. If you have pink, it gets heavy and it sags. And then when it dries out eventually, and it will eventually, your walls will go moldy, but it'll dry. It doesn't bounce back. And so then you've got that whole cold airspace the whole time, right? And you're going to end up with moisture and condensation and mold going there anyway. So when you're dealing with a water event, really the goal is this. If you find a wall cavity or a ceiling cavity that's wet, take the drywall off that cavity, remove the insulation from that cavity, and let the wood dry. That's the whole mitigation process. That's what the insurance pros are going to do. They're just going to follow the water, open it all up, whatever got wet, and let it dry. Step one. You can do the same and prevent your house from getting moldy in the first place. Oh, I know if you're here tonight and you're in the live show and you haven't seen our last few, feel free to watch them, at least the first 20 minutes, because I do kind of more of a presentation style beginning of each of those live shows to give you the next step in the evolution of what mess you're dealing with. It's great. Now, your house is on a crawl space. Do I need to redo the plumbing? Yeah, Carrie, if you have a crawl space, then you have access to your plumbing, right? It'd be a really wise move, all things considered, because don't forget, crawl space means post and beam. It means your whole house is on point load. It means little sections of structure. And if you got a bus pipe underneath your house wasn't built for a river to run underneath it. And it can happen while you sleep. And then you wake up in the morning and you go to open the bedroom door and it's kind of stuck and you wonder what's going on. It's because the middle of the house collapsed, right? It may be only a sunken inch or two, but it wrecks everything. All your structure's messed up, the drywall cracking, nothing closes and opens properly. And then you run the risk of stretching electrical lines because things are moving, and wires don't grow when things move. They just get yanked because electricians have a habit of stapling and running it tight. So it's really important that if you're concerned about having a plumbing event in the future, another one of these kind of storms, that you upgrade your plumbing, anything that's outside the house at least to PEX. Do the whole house, right? I kind of feel like we're back in the 60s going, you know what, maybe this aluminum wire stuff isn't any good and we should change the building code. Because we did. We had aluminum wire because that was like the cat's meow. Finally, we had a ground. Yay, we're getting better and smart. And then someone said, wow, this aluminum stuff really isn't up to speed. It's still causing too many fires. We should go to copper wire. And it took 20, 30 years. I mean, there's still lots of aluminum wire out there. So if you want to be smart and you own your own home and you're not planning on leaving, save yourself the aggravation and upgrade your plumbing to PEX. Copper only lasts 50 to 100 years anyway. I'm going to have to change it sometime. Might as well be now. All right. William is wondering if there are any obvious waterline breaks. If there's no obvious waterline breaks, are there any subtle or long-term signs we need to look for with cracked or pinhole leaks? Okay, so first of all, a pinhole leak is a break in the waterline, and it will spray, and it will make a mess, and you will know there is one. The residential copper is very, very, very thin. So if your pipe had ice in it, it might even stretched, okay? But stretched pipe doesn't make a bad pipe. It just means that if you have a stretched pipe and you get a weather event like this again, next time it'll burst for sure. And if you can't see all your water lines, then you don't know what you're dealing with. All you know is this. Today, there's not leaking. Under normal conditions, a stressed pipe isn't going to just start to leak. I think that's what you want to know. If I'm leak-free today, am I leak-free tomorrow? The answer is yes. But in the next storm, your system's been compromised, so it's more likely to burst the next time. Does that make sense? I think that's a fair assumption. PEX is not the code now. No, it's still optional. It's the standard. It's the most common, but it's still optional. You could always go copper. PEX is definitely better than copper, all things freezing. It is, for a lot of people, they're concerned about the reduction in the flow, right? Hang on a second. Because these are the fittings, right? So you've got this PEX pipe. Remember, we talked about the outside diameter for a shark bite? The PEX and the copper outside diameter is the same, but the thickness of the wall of the PEX is a lot thicker. So you actually have less flow in a PEX line. Now on copper, your coupling goes over top of your pipe. With PEX, it goes inside. So then now that's the diameter of your pipe. Okay. And so people have concerns about PEX because am I going to get enough water flow? Now, like I showed you with the shower valve, the holes that are in the cartridges are a lot smaller than that. So trust me, it's not going to affect your shower. The aeration holes on your sink and your bathroom and your kitchen are a lot smaller. It's not going to affect that either. The only place it's going to affect is the tub. Now, tub fillers, okay, they come with 3/4 supply line as a rough-in. So you can run independent PEX plumbing 3/4 supply line to tub rough-ins that are 3/4 supply line, and you're going to have more water than your old 1/2-inch copper. So that is definitely a solution if you're looking to change over to PEX and you want to upgrade your system and still be able to fill your tub before the water gets cold, right? So that is definitely a way to go. Okay, so let's move into this. We're going to start going into a little more Q&A now. I'm going to pull out the phone. For everybody just joining, my name is Jeff from Home Renovision. We are talking today to people from Texas who've been negatively affected by the storm to try to help them, give them some solutions to their problems. There's a lot of different people dealing with a lot of different problems. And we're going to just take the phone. I know we actually got contacted from a few people today. Andrew, if you're watching, give me a call now. Hopefully you already have the number. If not, Michelle is going to put that up for you on the screen. I'm sure she's watching and paying attention. And because she's wonderful like that, Michelle's my wife. I can talk to her like that if I want to. All righty. What are you looking at here, Matt? Oh, yeah. There we go. The phone number is up. If you want to give me a call and ask me questions about the flood-related issues from the Texas storm, I'm more than happy to take it. If you're calling me about anything else, I'm going to give you heck and make you put in a $50 pledge to Feed Texas. I can't make you do anything, truth is, but we're going to do the best we can to help out. Once again, we are raising money on the top right corner of your screen. There's an option to join the fundraiser. We started that fundraiser. All that money goes directly to Feeding Texas by YouTube. They're wonderful partners in doing fundraising like this. We don't even touch the money, folks. You make a donation, it goes straight into their account. No word of lie. It is that efficient. You got to love technology. Anyway, we're here to take your calls. So let's keep going on with the questions in the chat. If you have questions in the chat, go ahead. If you want to join the membership program and help support what we're doing here, that'd be awesome. Hey, welcome George to the membership. If you want to join the membership program because you're in Texas or you're in the middle of a renovation project and you're in over your head and you're looking for a pro to give you a hand, then you can do that. And we have a forum that you guys can join in and ask questions, send us pictures. And I've been busy this morning in the forum, taking care of people and helping them out. And I love doing it. I mean, I got the greatest job on earth, right? I get to take all of my years of experience and just help people. Like, that's just awesome. I make a living helping people. It's kind of cool. I feel like a doctor. Call me Dr. Jeff. All right. Anyway, yeah, here's another classic question. Somebody wants to know what the best PEX joint is. All right, so there are two kinds of PEX. There's the PEX that I was showing you there that has the fitting that goes inside, and it has a solid copper ring. Okay, the solid copper ring are much better than the crimp stainless steel. It looks like a gear drive. The solid copper is obviously better. Technology and the use of it have brought down the cost on the tools. It's very affordable. You can get a good PEX crimper now for like $40. All right, so you can do your whole house. The best plumbing in the world, of course, is Uponor. And that is a new technology on the market that's mostly used by plumbers because the tool for the expansion of the pipe, and it expands the fittings and goes over top. Expansion PEX technology is better than the rings. Okay, let's just all agree. You can't argue with me on that. It's just a fact. Mercedes is better than Chevy. That's how it is. But it's very expensive because you have to buy a tool that's $300 or $400 to use it. So generally only plumbers are using it. We're trying to reach out to Uponor to see if there's a tool on the market that they would approve that is lower cost, or if they have plans to put the product in Home Depot, because then at least the tool would be available for rent from the rental center. Cheers, Ed. Thanks for your donation there, buddy. Appreciate it. Again, we're raising money for Feeding Texas to help take care of people who are devastated by the storm. And I don't say that lightly. There's a lot of folks who aren't going to be covered by insurance, who are going to have half their house ripped apart because of the mold that's going to happen. And it's going to be one hell of a mess. Mark my words, give it a week and wait till you see those images on social media. It'll blow your mind. All right. Omar's over in Egypt watching. Yeah, right. It's a little bit different over there, but appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Cheers. All right. Well, guys, the phone's there. Matt, maybe I should check if it's working again. Yep. Look at that. Maybe we've answered so many questions. Nobody left in the world who has a question. What do you think? Is that possible?
Possibility.
Who knows? I'm just going to sit here and enjoy my ginger ale. Here's your question. Someone wants to know if you got a leak in a soldered copper joint. Would you recommend reheating and adding solder or taking it apart and redoing the joint? Wow. You know what? Like, it's always better to start from scratch. But in a lot of cases, if you have a leak, it's because it's brand new, right? If you just did your copper joint and it's leaking, you've got a problem. There's dirt or something going on, so the flux isn't working, okay? If you have an existing copper joint and it's starting to leak as a result of what happened with the storm, then you can probably just reheat it, right? Throw a little flux around the joint, reheat it, throw some solder in, give it a shot. Worst case scenario, when you turn the water back on, it still drips. That's okay. The tools are right there and you're ready to go. Then you know you got to take it apart and redo it. Now, here we go. The show must go on. Here we go. Hello, it's Jeff here. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Jeff. It's Kent down in Texas.
Kent, out of Texas. How you doing, Kent?
Better, but I appreciate what you're doing for us down here.
Well, you know, like somebody has to. Dear Lord, I mean, I figure if anybody is qualified to help Texans with ice, it's Canadians. So what kind of situation are you dealing with there, my friend?
Well, I sent you some pictures earlier on the form. I've got a breezeway out to a garage, and got a hot and cold running out to a bathroom back there. And right before it exited the house, oddly, the hot water line broke, and I was actually dripping out in the garage. I didn't quite understand it, but it burst. So I've got about 40 square feet of roof that came down up against the wall.
Yeah.
And cracked the water as close as I can crack it. And I think I've got everything opened up and drying. So it looks like I've got a pretty good kind of drying situation. So I'm pretty good there. Where I am right now is I had a gate valve in line that was leaking too. So I had to cut out a great big piece of pipe.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to crack a piece of PEX.
Yes.
It's in a difficult place to do. So what I want to do is do two straight short bite fittings on that piece of PEX. And the question I've got, you know, you run to Home Depot, you grab everything you can grab. All I could get was a piece of Apollo PEX, which I understand is PEX B.
Yep.
Are you hearing me okay?
Yep, I'm okay.
Okay. And so I've got short bite and PEX B, and I can't find anywhere that says shark bites are compatible with Apollo PEX B.
Right. So the secret is, does the PEX push into the shark bite?
It does, and it seeks all the way down to that 1 inch point. So
There's your answer, because the shark bite is designed for the outside diameter of the pipe.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with how thick or what it's made of.
Okay.
So as long as the outside diameter of the pipe is a nice snug fit, you should be just fine. I can't imagine the PEX you're dealing with is going to be any smaller than the other types.
Yeah, it looks to be the right diameter. It looks the fitting inside looks like it's working right.
There you go.
It goes all the way down.
So if it's not fitting loose or wiggling around, then I would say you got it, no problem at all.
Okay. So the second question with this is with the shark bites. This is once I put the roof back up there, it's inaccessible completely.
Right.
And I'll have two different fittings in there: copper, PEX, copper again on two shark bite straight fittings.
Sure.
You don't have any trouble at all with that kind of scenario when the walls close back up?
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you're going to put in your plumbing and then you're going to repressurize and you want to give it a 48-hour test, right? So that you have a little peace of mind before you close it up.
Right.
Then I'd say don't worry about it. Now, generally speaking, whenever we're using PEX, shark bite connections, we want to have a trap door, like an access door.
Right.
Okay, just so that we can do like annual maintenance, because you want to be able to identify if it starts to drip.
Mm.
Because when they fail, they don't like gush, they don't explode, they just start to drip.
Mm.
So that part of the ceiling that's right under that plumbing fitting Is it like in a formal area of the home that design aesthetic is an issue?
No, it's over a kitchen dining room.
A kitchen dining room? Well, you know, they do make a spring-loaded access trap door. It's in a white plastic. It's very slim line. Yeah, they can get them in the Home Depot or even on Amazon. Okay, so you just go search spring-loaded access door 8x8, and it just slides right into place. And you cut a hole in the drywall 6x6 inch underneath your fittings, and then you slap this. Then you can paint it the same as the ceiling, and it's almost invisible.
Okay.
And then you can do like an annual inspection. And then if it ever does start to drip, what'll happen is it'll drip into that plastic spring-loaded trapdoor. And then you'll notice it because it'll start dripping out of one of the corners and be like, oh, okay, we got to change that shark bite, turn off the water, go get a new shark bite.
Right.
Right. And then that's the worst case scenario. And you know, when you find a problem like that, it's such a small volume of water that just leaving the trapdoor off for 24 hours, all the drywall will dry out and won't have any negative effect.
Okay.
So you can have a long-term solution with what I would consider to still be a temporary fitting, because shark bite is still trying to get approved for long-term to be buried in walls. But common sense says, you know, it's nice to be able to have access just in case.
Right, right.
Because if it starts dripping and you don't have a trapdoor, then what'll happen is it'll start dripping. You probably have insulation there, on and on and on. And then it might even start rotting out and molding before it even comes through the surface. Right?
Yeah.
You might not even see it translate into the paint until after it's already gone to mold.
Got it. Okay.
So it's worth it to me. I'm a big fan of trapdoors.
Okay.
All right.
So, last question. I had two valves up in the attic. They're gate valves, and they were stuck open.
Okay.
So I didn't shut those going out to the garage. I wish I had, but there's nearly impossible to replace those, so I didn't mess with them, and now I've got a burst. So what I want to do is come back upstream and put in two gate valves. Not gate valves, but quarter turn valves.
Quarter turn ball valves, yeah. Like no washers, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
The pipe going across the attic back to the hot water heater and the cold is relatively fixed. And so what I've found are the shark bite slip valves. So
yes.
You cut out a 2-inch piece of pipe, you slip it in, you pull it back, and you've got a shark bite in line.
You got it.
I go back to, is that something that is going to be trustworthy, or it will be accessible? I can climb up in the attic, look at it, see if it's leaking, or should I try to solder some valves in that line?
You know, that all comes down to how comfortable you soldering in a confined space.
Yeah,
right?
This is actually fairly open. The problem
okay.
or the pipes left and right are fixed. They're not.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to give advice of should I start fire up in my attic, but if you're comfortable with doing it, it's always better to solder it in than use our shark bite, I would say.
Got it.
Okay.
How do you solder in a valve that's got fixed pipes left and right?
Well, you know, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? But, you know, the other thing is fixed pipe, it's still flexible. It just has clamps on joists. Okay. So if you undo the clamps on an 8 or 10 foot run, you'd be able to put enough bend in that pipe that you can move it out of the way and snap it back in again.
Slip them back in. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
That's probably the solution once I can get the valve.
There you go. You could probably have to cut off a piece of that pipe, relatively speaking, but just line it up so that the finished pipe where it's laying now, you're going to make two cuts to represent the excessive piece of pipe that you don't need anymore. And you'll just cut that section right out. So it's probably like an inch and a half or something like that.
Yeah, I've done a lot of sprinkler systems, so I know what you're talking about.
There you go. All right. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it.
Hey, dude, I'm glad to help. Cheers.
Here's you.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. There we go. Another sassified customer. That's awesome. Dude, I am loving this.
This is kind of fun.
Right? This is awesome. I'm so fun helping people.
Frozen toilet bowl water.
Still. Yeah, don't go away on that one. I'll come back to that. Hello, you on the phone with Jeff. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Jeff. It's Allie's Corner.
Hi. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing well. I was listening. We got lucky. We only had an outside, like, water thing that you connect the hose to.
Yep.
Along, right up. Yeah, we just have one of those breakers or something. It's just sealing behind the brick, so we haven't opened it up yet. Or
Sure. Did you have the ability to turn it off though?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think so. My husband dealt with that.
Yep.
There's not any water coming from it.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have a question though.
Yep.
I was feeling pretty good about where we're at with, what we got out of this, compared to everyone else.
Sure.
Then you were talking about how, the next time around, very likely that you could be dealing with something, and then I kind of freaked out a little bit.
Okay, sorry to do that to you, but I'm trying to be pragmatic.
No, I agree. You have no idea. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That led to a question though in my head. Those, I don't know what it's called, but it's some kind of like epoxy restoration. I know that they do it like on really super old houses where they blow it in through like one or two spots, they open up and then blow it in so that, like in old houses, they don't have to take up the really old floors and that kind of thing. Does that sound familiar?
You lost me a little bit. I tried to hold on, but I think I got bucked.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's forget the word epoxy. What kind of situation are you dealing with?
Well, I'm wanting to. You were talking about going back and replacing old pipe.
Yes.
So that to do that though, and me knowing nothing about plumbing, you just have to completely open up all of your walls.
Well, the truth is there's not a whole lot of place in the house where you're going to have plumbing pipes, right? And depending on your house, if you're a slab on grade and you're single story, or are you 2-story?
Single story.
Okay, so the majority of situations with single story is there's a water line that goes up into the attic, and you have a main line going across the top of the attic, and then it all tees off from there. Okay, goes down to hot and cold supply for everything. It's relatively straightforward because you got a kitchen sink, you got a bathroom sink and a faucet and a shower and a toilet line, and a lot of that will just come straight down from the top, or it might feed horizontally in the bathroom wall. So in a lot of cases, they design a house so that only one wall in the bathroom even has water in it. So you've got a kitchen faucet, you've got a bathroom wall, and then, you've got an outside hose bib, and then you've got your dishwasher, which comes off from under the cabinet with your sink. So that's the same supply line still. It all depends on the size of the house and how many different places you've got with water features. But the point is a lot of these water supply lines, they should be on interior walls, right? Not on the wall. And in some cases, it's an exterior wall down in Texas because they're not as concerned about freezing. But I get it, right? And so if you want to change your water supply line on an exterior wall, then you do have to open the wall for sure because you've got insulation. And you want to make sure your pipes are on the inside of the insulation and you're not just jamming pipe in the wall cavity and forcing your insulation to get compacted and opening up an airspace. So yeah, you do have to open up some wall.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound as invasive as maybe I was picturing it to be.
Yeah, it's not as invasive as rewiring a house. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are correct, though. In Texas, I would all of our bathrooms, like sink and our kitchen sink, they are all on exterior walls.
Yeah, not a big surprise. Okay, so then you do have to open up the wall, and that really becomes a through this storm, you might find that changing the way you run your plumbing in your attic, which is accessible, is a better way to deal with prevention than ripping apart your house. Because it is cheaper to buy a generator than rip apart a kitchen and a bathroom or two just to change your plumbing pipe in the wall. And as long as you don't lose heat, then the only thing that you have a problem with is that one line running through the attic. So Well, you're really all you have to do is just change it so that the insulation isn't underneath that water line anymore. So if you take the insulation out of the cavity that's underneath the water line, and you simply create a mountain of insulation over your water line, so now the water line is part of the interior of the home as far as the heat source is concerned. Even if it gets cold again, your water line isn't susceptible to freezing because you bought a generator.
Right.
Aha.
Oh, we're for sure buying a generator
Okay,
now.
now,
Yeah,
so-
there was.
Right, so you got a little bit of time. So don't be in a quick hurry to sign a dotted line and pay premium rate because everyone's freaked out. But here's your thing. I mean, if all we do is change the way that we protect that water line from freezing in the future and guarantee our ability to provide heat in the home, then we don't have to go crazy and remodel the entire house. Makes sense?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I think we're gonna do a special video on that, and I'll show people how simple that process is. And they're just gonna be like, well, if I only had that idea ahead of time, it's just kind of nutty.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that and the whole turning the water off, that.
Well, and this is where it comes
But
down to. You're right. There is
it.
an ounce of prevention here that would have gone a long way. I mean, and I hate saying it because it's like, I wasn't even aware of the storm before it happened. So I'm not in a position to say, I told you. I can't do that, right? I got in a little late. I was busy shoveling 3 feet of snow in my own house. But so what happened is, for whatever reason, the message didn't get out. If you have water for flushing your toilet, that's probably plenty considering the magnitude of what we're potentially dealing with here. If you turn off the water at the street, put insulation under that green lid so that the shutoff valve is actually insulated against the cold and the ground temperature would keep that warm and functioning. Okay? You're not going to get enough frost line to get down and penetrate the water supply going to the house. If your water lines were empty in the house, then the water is not there to freeze. Copper can get cold. It just can't have water in it when it gets cold. And so all of these disasters would have been avoided. Now,
okay, so
woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? But
to choose instead of keeping your water faucet dripping.
Yeah, see, keeping it dripping, it's that's country talk, right? I mean, we used to have old houses and we'd have water lines in the outside walls and they were kind of in the middle of the insulation. And we all knew, when it blows from the east, that's when you want to just leave the kitchen sink open a little because it was on that wall. And moving water doesn't freeze, right? It really doesn't. It's a lot harder to happen. So as long as there's water moving, it can get really cold. The water can get down to like -3 and it won't freeze as long as it's moving. And so that's where your protection is. But just dripping your tap, for the love of God, for what? Because the next day you're going to have broken water mains all over the city. They're going to put you on a boil water advisory anyway. So the only thing you can use water for is for flushing your toilet. Well, if you turn it off for the street and empty your lines, the next day you can go out and turn it back on again and just use it for your toilets and you never had a bust.
Yeah.
You get the same result with a lot less work and zero risk.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you talking to me.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. I will keep watching your shows as well.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, you take care. And, if you have friends or family down there that are having trouble and they don't know where to go, we're going to do a few more of these live shows so they can call in and we can talk to them about their situation too. Be happy to help.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think spreading the word about that for other people, just around anyone who has family or friends down here in Texas, that would be great because it is impossible right now to get a plumber to your house.
That's for sure. And that's why we started the show showing my plumber tricks. Did you get a chance to see that?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
Fantastic. Well,
I'm
listen,
not gonna lie.
maybe
I really don't understand much of it, but
right?
I'm going to get my husband on it.
Well, the hammer trick works for everybody. It mitigates it down to a drip, and that's a good step in the right direction. You know what? I would love it if somebody out there who maybe knows some people in the media would maybe share the story of what we're doing. I don't have a PR person. I don't have a big, ability to get the word out. The best I know, no one is out there helping you guys. So
Right.
there's nothing else.
You know what? I will look around and see what.
I have a nice professional studio here. I could take a phone call from a local media down there in Texas and talk about what we're doing. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay. All right.
Because if we got the word out,
will
then more people could watch the videos and they could get some help, right? And I mean, yeah, I might make $5 or $6 off the deal, and that's not really the point. But at least we'd get some more promotion out about the Feed in Texas program, because I know you're going to have a lot of families down there needing help.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty bad. It is.
I can just imagine.
So I definitely appreciate you taking it on, and I'll do what I can to get the word out for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. And if everybody watching it, we can all do the same. Maybe, just maybe, we can make a big enough difference that it was, it's always going to be worth it. Helping just one person's great. Listen, thanks for the call. I'm going to hang up and we'll give somebody else a chance to get in. All right. Cheers. You take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, if we all do what we can to get the word out, start bugging your local news media. Pardon? We got a couple questions to get to? Okay, so I'm turning off my phone. Does that even work? Yeah, we're going to get some of the questions that are in the chat, guys. All right, we're going to pull the battery for just a minute. If you're trying to call, bear with me. This means I'm answering questions on the chat. All right, let's do this real quick. We had an outside faucet wall with brick exterior. Yeah, with freeze protector on, and water dripped into the freeze protector and froze around the faucet, completely covering, brick of ice. Help. All right. The best thing that I understand about exterior faucets is they all have a shut-off valve inside the house. That's your thing. Just turn it off, and when it all finally thaws, even brick is designed to dry out. So everything will dry out, especially on the outside of a house. You're not going to have any concern, okay? Even plywood and OSB can be exposed to the weather for weeks and weeks and rainstorms on end and be still structurally sound. It's all been designed that way. So I don't want you to work too much up over the situation. Ice is temporary. We get it every year up here in Canada, and every year it goes away, and the houses are just fine. So you're going to be okay. What you're going to have to do is just take a look at maybe changing your technology on your faucet for next time. Don't be in a quick hurry to worry about that. But, when summer comes, if you haven't had a plumber change it out and it has a leak, you're going to have a problem, right? So take a look at getting that changed. Next, Katie in Austin, they had a leak. Go to our laminate flooring. Okay, so for everybody who's listening to me right now, if you have laminate flooring, okay, it is garbage. Throw it out. It will go to mold. You cannot leave it in place and dry it. It is actually, it's like a protection. It harbors water underneath. The water underneath is going to go bacteria-ridden and musty, and it's going to be nasty and stinky. If you have laminate flooring, you have to lift it up and throw it in the garbage. That's the only way to get underneath it and dry it out properly. And you're going to have to treat that concrete slab now, because it's been almost a week. You're going to have to get some concrobium or bleach or something and clean that. And if you want to take a look at our list of mitigation products, it's on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca. Follow the link in our video description to get to those links and go buy stuff that you need online, because you won't find it in the store right now. But you cannot leave laminate flooring and then expect to dry over top. It's going to be wet underneath. I don't care how dry you think it is. When we did a major flood citywide, we had client after client after client thinking, oh, I'm fine down here. Everything's good and dry. You can walk on it. There's no water. We lifted up the flooring, and the underpad, and it was soaking wet and smelled disgusting. You don't want to leave that sitting there. That is bacteria, and that is ugly. All right. The PEX copper manifolds hold up to freezing. Well, I'll tell you this much. If I had a PEX copper manifold system in my house and I lost power and it was -6 outside, I'd have about a dozen candles in that room running, trying to make sure it didn't blow up, because it's copper, and copper will blow. The only way you can provide protection for a copper manifold is to turn off your water at the city, drain all your lines, and get the water out of your plumbing system. Okay? That's how you take care of that. All right? All right, next up. We will get back to the phone. If you have a customer, you want to make a call, let me plug this bad boy in. Maddie is sending me messages. This is working so well. I feel like a well-oiled machine over here, buddy. All right. Phone is back in business. If you need the number, 613-559-9771. It's your dime, but it's my time, and I'm happy to help. So feel free. Yesterday's video, we talked a lot about mold. Yes, we did. So if you have got problems, please invest the time to watch these videos. It's a series. Usually the first 30 minutes or so, I dealt with a subject matter, and then we took a lot of calls. And as these questions come up, I'm trying to make more and more videos based on answering the particular problems that are at hand. Will mold die if it dries out? No. No, it just waits until it gets wet again. It's just a coiled up snake. It's nasty. All right. It'll grow. It'll start to proliferate and grow and spore. And then it runs out of food and water and it just goes. And then it gets wet and the next moment it's right back at you. It's just unbelievably brutal. Duma wall. Not going to touch it. Next up. If it goes dormant, it doesn't die. Good point. I agree. Yeah, cheers. Happy to help, guys. I'm in Ottawa, Canada. So far north, it is still -6, American scale. And it is a sunny, beautiful day at -6, let me tell you. It's quite normal for us. But we built for this weather, right? We build for this weather. It's normal for us. Construction technology exists so that it's not a big issue. But where you live, you didn't build for this weather. That's why this is such an issue. It's unbelievable. And I get it. And this is one of the reasons why housing in the United States is actually much more affordable than Canada, because you get to build much simpler style of home than we have to be honest with you. You know, living up north, it costs a lot of money. All right. Because I don't want to talk about particular products. That's why I don't want to touch it, the Duma wall. I've never worked with it. I don't care to. I'm a tiler. I love tile. Maybe one of these days I'll look at it, but not for now. How to drain the pipe completely when some pipe elevation is lower than the tap. You know what? You don't need to drain it completely, Jen. You just need to get the pressure out of the line, okay? If this is your pipe and it's horizontal and you've opened it up, okay, it drains. That drains. That's still going to hold some water, right? But when you take a look at the pipe up in the attic, it's flat. It's on all the floor joists. If you drain everything underneath, it'll slowly drip. Maybe it'll be half full. But a half full pipe of water won't freeze and expand to the point where it'll blow the line. Okay, that is why it works. All right, and you're still going to have some situations where the water went down and up and it held, but I would rather have 20 or 30 people have a burst pipe the next time, Snowmageddon happens than 20 or 30 people per street. Okay, makes sense? Just good policy. Larry, before I go, Jeff, thanks so much for what you're doing. Hey, Larry, cheers. Thanks for being a part of this and for supporting us in this. Take care all the way over. I believe Larry is from Europe, and he is still watching us and loving on us. Awesome. Southern boy, how much water gets through the vinyl click flooring? You know what? It doesn't matter. It's still a floating floor, okay? Understand the concept. You're laying something on top of something. Every dip and void and valley is going to fill with water. So whether it's vinyl or laminate, you have to lift it up. Now, if it's vinyl, the water ain't going to hurt it. So you can take it up and stack it, and you can clean it, and you can reinstall it. You can number the backside with a marker, and you can reassemble from backwards. But you can't just leave it there, okay? Holding water on a concrete slab, the water will go gray and black and smell, and it will make your life miserable. All right? Vinyl floor being waterproof simply means that if it gets wet, it isn't going to expand and be destroyed. A lot of laminate floors, if they get wet, they expand and they're junk. They're garbage. Vinyl doesn't expand and get junky. The water sits on top in most cases. But in a flood scenario, I don't care what you got for flooring. It's getting underneath. And so then you got to lift the flooring up. Okay. Should we remove bathroom shower tile and wall on exterior to avoid mold since pipe broke and was coming through all openings in that ceiling? No, what you do is you open up the ceiling in that bathroom. You find out which way the joists are running, okay? And then you follow the wet insulation. If that wet insulation is going to go down a wall with tile on it, then yes, you need to expose that wall. All right. And it could be devastating, but again, make sure you've been in contact with your insurance company. A lot of insurance companies don't want you guys doing this kind of work until they get a chance to assess it. But you need to get them to give you the definitive answer. Am I covered or not? There's still a lot of people waiting to hear. And waiting is not part of the game right now. This is not a waiting game. You know, there are already people who've had a flood. I'm going to just tell you the truth. It's going to burn your ass. There are people who had a burst pipe, had the insurance company in the next day, did all the mitigation, removed everything, dried that house out. They've already got a construction crew in their house putting it back together. Do you know who those people are? They're the people who paid for the premium policy insurance. Okay? And they're getting white glove service. Everybody else who is on the fence, who may or may not be covered, who might have a $10,000 deductible, you're all getting ranked, okay? Civil services first, then people who paid premium, and then maybe some of the other folks, if you've got the money to cover the deposit and the deductible. Everything's rank and file because they can't take care of everybody at the same time. So it is a pecking order. And if you're in that pecking order and the insurance has got no intention of dealing with you, you need to know the answer to that question now so that you can mitigate before the mold sets in. And if you're going to get the insurance company in, you got to get them approval to at least go in there and do some of the mitigation to reduce the total effect on your house so you don't go to mold waiting for them to show up and do the job. Because the truth is, as long as they can at least send out somebody to say, yeah, take this and this and this and this, 5 minutes, they can give you a list of what's approved. You can do that work and you can bill them for your time. That's a much better gig, all right? So you got to be a squeaky wheel here, folks. You can't just sit back and wait for them because everybody who's not making noise, no problem. Bottom of the list, out of my mind. I'll see you next week, next month when I give a damn. If you make noise, they will start dealing with you because they don't want to answer the phone every 5 minutes. And what else are you going to do when your house is flooded out? Stay on the phone every 5 minutes. I want someone here. I want a list. I want to know if I'm approved. Be a real pain in the ass. Best advice I can give. Wow. Jeff rants. All right. So, yeah. Hey, someone anonymously donated $50 to Feeding Texas. Is that the same anonymous that's causing all those computer viruses and problems around the world? Or is that just the way that the YouTube set up there, buddy?
I think you can,
You can actually make a donation without telling the whole world that you're doing it. And I appreciate that there are a lot of people who like to do that. So cheers to Anonymous. All right. Obviously, Texas building code isn't going to change overnight for one storm. No, but this isn't the first one. They had cold hit them like this about 10 years ago. It just wasn't as long, and they didn't lose hydro. Okay? But what are 2 or 3 critical things we can change to prevent some of the cold-related issues people experience? 1, next time the weather comes, take the green lid off your shutoff valve at the street. Put a piece of insulation over top of your shutoff valve. After you turn off the water and after you've filled up your tub with water so that you have something to flush the toilet with. Okay? We all know the deal. You're going to go to potable water because the main lines are going to blow. Nobody can drink the water. So, but you want to have a toilet working. And that's just gravity feed. So that's fine. Number 2, drain the water lines in the house. Release all the pressure and try to get as much water out of the system as you can. Okay? And then leave them open. Because as water freezes, it expands and it'll push the water that hasn't frozen and it'll continue to drain. And then your pipes will survive. Number 3, if you got a water line in your attic, we're going to do this in a future video a little later this week, maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, why don't we just do it tomorrow? You can change the way you run your plumbing and you insulate your attic so that the line in the ceiling is insulated. Now, that only helps you if you've got heat. So really, you can't afford to lose heat again. If you can afford a generator, get one. If you can't, buy a ton of candles. Because if you can burn candles, right? Let's go back to, 6th century. Like, make fire. But don't use like propane or butane or barbecues or engines in your garage. Light candles. Have emergency candles that burn for hours on end. It'll change the temperature in that room enough that things aren't going to freeze. And if you can have your plumbing supply on the same side of the insulation as your heat supply, even with the power off, you can keep your lines from freezing. That's about all there is to it. it should be as simple as 1, 2, 3. It should be in the handbook when you buy a house. Really? Ah. Okay. Next. JP says I'm Jordan Peterson with a home improvement show. Well, I'd have to go like this more often and think first before I spoke. But, yeah, gotta love good Jordan Peterson. Nothing wrong with that guy. There's a man who knows how to think and knows how to express himself. You don't have to agree with him, but you know what? If the whole world would stop barking at each other and maybe open up their mind and listen to each other once in a while, we'd learn things from each other. Wouldn't that be a nice change? Huh? Let's all get along. My God. Okay, you know what? Hey, for a second, before we go any further, let's just give a shout out to the hydro workers. Policy aside, right? The guys that are out there busting their ass, everybody who came in from out of state who was allowed to come and help, if that even happened, because it's kind of normal. People help people. Cheers to you guys. It's one hell of a job out there in the cold, on the lift in the wind. You guys don't have time to get acclimatized to that kind of weather. Like up here in Canada, the cold comes slowly. That just kind of slapped you right upside the face. And, we just want to say thanks. We appreciate all your hard work to get heat back on for everybody. All right. Now, if you're just joining us, of course, we're here trying to help folks. Feel free to call us. Number 613-599-9771. It's on the top of the screen. You can call me with your problems. If you live in Texas and you're looking for help, and you got big ass mess going on, I'm here to help solve it for you. I'll give you all of my experience with disaster restoration and construction. And I live in Canada, of course, so we're used to ice and cold and the kind of messes that come with it. We are raising money for Feed Texas because they distribute to all the food banks in the area. And Lord knows, there's going to be a lot of people. We were just getting started. You realize that? It's not much in the news anymore even. Yeah, well, it's warm now. Everybody's fine. No, they're not. No, they're not. There are going to be a whole lot of people who aren't going to have insurance coverage. And I want everyone to start having that conversation. Start calling your representatives. So what are you going to do for those folks? Is there going to be state money? Is there going to be Fed money? Somebody needs to come up with some money because building materials are bloody expensive right now. And that ain't going to get any cheaper. Rizzy, are you kidding me? That's 3 days in a row you're donating money to Feed in Texas. Look at that. Yeah, buddy. No worries. Now look at me. I'm in charge of the mouse now.
Big bang.
I am the man. All right. Woo. Okay. Yeah. Listen, guys, whether it's a lot or a little, if you chip in and donate a little bit, just a few bucks, it gets stretched because these organizations can buy food 3-4 times as much as what we can with the same money. So $5 will buy dinner for an entire family. That's one hell of a way to help out somebody. All right. Let's get some questions going on here. Yeah, you know what? Policy questions and stuff, code changes. We don't need many code changes, just some practical changes. It wouldn't be bad to at least have maybe a page on the city site that says, in the event that this is kind of weather's coming, turn to page 3. Here's step 1, 2, and 3. Jeff said it's a great idea. It's going to work. And it'll save us trillions of dollars next time. Like, holy cow. What a brilliant thought. Here's somebody, Brandon, here says, my tankless water heater got a cracked heat exchanger. Yeah, how hard is it to change the tankless out? My plumber showed up for 10 minutes and told me to order a new one. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Because they don't store pipes for those machines. They don't have parts, for those machines. I just got a propane water heater for my house, the farmhouse that we're renovating on YouTube. Check out the renovation videos. Anyway, my gas guy said, don't get a tankless. He said, because when they break down, it takes forever to get parts. Even like in a normal year without COVID, without all this chaos, he said, you don't want to be a few days without hot water while you're getting that ordered in. And so when the plumber says, yeah, you're screwed, move on, order another one. Well, maybe it's time to look at not going tankless because you can get a hot water tank that's heated by gas that loses half a degree every 6 hours. Who cares? Do you really need tankless? You got 50 gallons of hot water sitting there. I mean, how much water do you need? Dear Lord. You'll never have to deal with that mess again. Look at everybody jumping in, donating money. Okay, we got to just mention this. Jim McCarthy donated $20. Thank you, Jim. Daniel has donated $5. Cheers, Daniel. Appreciate it. Jeremy over here just donated $500. Dude, that is very generous. Thank you. Jason donated. He just bought dinner for 2 whole families right there. Yep. Scott Shelby bought dinner for 4. That is awesome. This is going crazy. Another anonymous donation for 40. I can't believe what I'm seeing. You guys are going to make me cry. That's unbelievable. Okay. So what do you think about plumbing wraps made out of like cast making material? Okay. So yeah, so there are other options. I didn't show all the plumbing repair fixes. There's tape, guys, it's silicone tape and it stretches and you wrap it around and you can seal up something temporary for a good couple weeks. Go on YouTube and just put in there emergency plumbing repair. There's like 2 or 3 videos and they got all the tips and tricks. They don't have what I showed you tonight. No one shows you how to use a bloody hammer and a pair of pliers, but it works, right? And you can get the water back onto your house. You can use the damn toilet again, even if it's going to drip a little bit. You throw in a pail. Big deal, right? I mean, nothing compared to when your ceiling fell in. All right. Look at this. We still got 500 people. I want everybody who's watching the show right now to give us a thumbs up, hit the like button. All right, let's send a signal to YouTube. They need to share this information. And APEC Remodeling. Now, there's somebody that I'm familiar with. You've been in the comments section for years. All right. Homeowner wanted tankless with propane for fuel. And company I work for explained that why it wouldn't be economical and glad I do. You know, I like having things that are really simple in my life that are guaranteed to work. And if I have a problem, I can replace it in a heartbeat. And that's why the tankless just doesn't work for me right now. If they make tankless heaters and they only have one version and they had parts available, then I'd probably be buy-in. But right now, I'm just, I like things simple. Yeah, the generosity for Feeding Texas is crazy. We could just do this all night long. We should have a lineup of like a bunch of kids, choirs and stuff singing and do like a telethon. Right on. Okay, guys, let's get some questions. Let's get some phone calls. I'm looking to hear from people in Texas, right? I want to know what's going on in your world. Yeah, I want to know, is there anybody out there who's watching this video and you're waiting for the insurance company to give you your answer if you're going to be covered or not? Is there anybody out there watching this video and the water to your house is still turned off because you don't know how to fix the hole in your pipe so that you can turn it back on and use your toilet? And you're getting a little concerned because getting fresh water is kind of a premium right now. If that's you, I want you to call in and I'll do my demonstration all over again, how you can fix your pipe so that you can turn your water back on. All right. You don't even need to have plumbing tools. You don't have to go to the store. There's a really simple way to fix it. And yeah, there's 5 people in this world that don't like me, period. Don't worry about the thumbs down. We got big enough shoulders to deal with it. All right. The truth is, when they put a thumbs down, it's better than not giving me a thumbs up at all or nothing at all. Okay. Because oddly enough, in the world of YouTube, pushing a button at all is better than not pushing a button. So I don't care if everybody puts thumbs down. YouTube is going to share this message because it's interaction, and they just love that interaction. Whether you love me or hate me, feel free to express your opinion. It'll help get the message out. Yeah, great hammer tip. We're going to do a video. I think we're filming on Tuesday. We're going to make a video with the water line under pressure, and I'm going to do that hammer trick again. I'm going to release it on my channel and on my social media, and just so everybody can have it for the future, because you're going to need it in the future. Things happen. Friend told him it takes 3 days to get someone from insurance to come look at his house. Yeah, Scott, and that's normal because it's such a huge issue. It's hospitals and police and then schools and then, commercial. They got better insurance policies. And then it's people that spend a lot of money on the residential policy. And then there's all the rest of us average folk, right? That's how it works. Money talks. And when you have a disaster, that's where you see it show up the most. Phone number is top of the screen, but I'm going to give it out one more time. It's area code 613-599-9771. Talk to Jeff. That's me. And I'll see if I can give you a hand dealing with your mess. Here's somebody that's in a Pearland outside of Houston. had a pipe burst, and I am an insurance adjuster. Yeah. And I'm blessed to be helping people. We have covered all of our claims so far. Fantastic. Nice to be a part of an insurance company that's got a policy that covers people. It's great to hear. Cheers to that. The access panel that was recommended is called a spring-loaded trapdoor axe. I call it a trapdoor, but on Amazon, they call it an access door. There you go, buddy. Okay, so if you search spring-loaded access door 8x8, it actually shows up on Amazon.com. I can't remember the name of the company, but it's there. And so associated, affiliated, all that kind of stuff. All right. I also have a drywall video on my channel. It's one of the top videos I've ever done, and I show you how to cut the hole and put a trapdoor in. So that would be handy. You want to check that out. You can go to my site and go to the search tool on your computer and just put in there drywall tricks, and you'll be able to see that. Speaking of my videos and on my site, I do have an absolutely massive renovation archive. And so we have videos on how to cut and install and tape and prime and sand and paint and finish carpentry and put in flooring and everything you're going to need to restore your home. You can do it all yourself. I'm telling you right now, you can do this. It's not that difficult. So if you don't have coverage, you're not completely screwed. Because truth is, drywall in the grand scheme of things is a lot of your home, but it's not that expensive. It's the labor along with the drywall that costs a fortune. Drywall is cheap. You can drywall a 10 by 10 room, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 sheets of drywall, $120. Piece of cake. Hello, it's Jeff. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, Jeff. I actually didn't call for a question. I was actually very nervous to make this call because remember that first live stream that you made to help us Texas folk?
Yes.
On the I was the very last call, and I was trying to get to ask a question, but I started off the phone call when I was trying to make a joke, but it came off real stupid. So the joke kind of fumbled, and I was like, I gotta just ditch this, and I just felt very nervous. So I just hung up the phone.
Okay.
I didn't mean to upset you. I felt.
I don't get upset. I just move on. And you got a question now for us?
No, I'm just letting you know I felt real bad. I'm sorry.
Well, I accept your apology. Thank you very much for calling back. That shows character, man. Now, cheers. You have yourself a great day. Bye-bye. All right. I wasn't going to leave that wide open. I don't know where it was going to go.
Let's chalk up as a nice gesture.
You know, I appreciate that. I'm going to walk away and leave it where it is. I'm not going to give you a chance to do one more shout out, right? I mean, you know, that's just the way it is. All right. But you know what? When you screw up in life, just deal with it. It's always the best policy.
If it's the same.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, right? All right. Love going live. Hello, it's Jeff. You're on the air. Who am I talking to?
Hi, this is Pam.
Hi, Pam. Did I get that right?
Yes,
Okay. What can we do for you, Pam?
Well, I had yes, you did. I had cut my water off at the house,
Yes.
and what happened was I've been hearing these little sounds. I don't know if it's dripping or I haven't seen any water stains, but every 30-some seconds I'm hearing this noise, so I went ahead and cut the water off. So, if there's water there, well, they just lifted the water where you can cut the water back on. So I'm kind of afraid to cut it on. I don't know, what should I be looking for?
Sure. Yeah. Let's walk through this, because if you have the water pressure on and you hear noises, okay, and you turn the water off, do the noises stop?
Yes.
Okay. So have you checked your outside faucet yet?
You know what? Yeah, I did check I have an outside faucet, and before I cut the water off, it was kind of leaking.
Okay, because if you turn the water back on and the noise comes back, it might be the sound of that leak from the outside faucet.
Okay.
Okay, now do you have a shut-off valve for that faucet in the house?
I don't. I just have the shut off for the whole house.
It's all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what you've got there is you can test that. Turn the water off and see if the leak stops with the outside faucet, and then turn the water back on and then see if it starts up again. And if it does, then you know you got to break with that part of the pipe.
Gotcha.
All right. And if it's copper, or is it copper, or are you on CPVC, or what do you have?
Galvanized. I think it's galvanized.
Oh, you got galvanized, so it's threaded pipe.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second.
You want your
No, I'm good. I just got a little bit of a. All right, now I'm on the phone, so give it a few seconds and you'll see this. But I'm holding up a blue pipe and it's got a shark pipe fitting with threaded pipe. Okay. Now, what I want you to know that all galvanized pipe, all steel piping, all plastic piping, all brass piping is all the same thread. Okay. It means doesn't matter what kind of material you buy, it'll match. So when you go and you take a measuring tape and a cell phone and you go take a picture of the width of that pipe, you go to the Home Depot or the Lowe's or your Menards or your Ace or whatever you got around, and you go over there and you say, I need to take a wrench and take off that piece of pipe, and then I need to put on a cap. And the guys working in that store, they'll have no trouble giving you exactly what you need so that you can disassemble the end of the faucet and put a cap on. Now, if they have an extra faucet laying around, I would be amazed right now. But you should be able to at least disengage the broken part of your faucet and then put on a cap. Okay? So you take a picture of exactly where your leak is and what kind of pipe and what the size is, because I haven't been to Texas yet. I'm not exactly sure how wide your piping is down there. All right. But it's the same thread. So it'll come 3/4, it'll come 1 inch, it'll come 1.25 inches, it'll come 1/2 inch. It won't matter. You just go and take that in and they'll be able to give you fittings. Okay. And these caps, they're like a buck. They're like $1 or $2. Yeah.
Sounds like a winner.
You just gotta put all your weight into that wrench. Okay. And you might need a second wrench, one to hold the pipe still and one to move the fitting. It might even take 2 people, and you might fall over a few times doing it and have a good laugh, but it'll get done, and then you'll be able to turn your water back on.
Well, fantastic.
All right.
Good news. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day. Thank you so much for
Pam, I'm hoping that helps. All right, you go have at it, and you'll be a hero, and you'll be doing it all for everybody in your whole neighborhood after that.
Okay. Sure. Bye bye.
Okay. Cheers. Bye bye. That was a great call. That was awesome. There you go.
heartwarming.
Problem solved.
Yep.
Pam is in good hands. Her own. Pam is in good hands. She's in her own hands now. She's a DIY queen. That is the way to do it. It's 3/4. Zach is saying it's 3/4 pipe over there. That's what I kind of figured. That's awesome. So she'll be fine. She'll go and take that picture in. And in case her house is weird, or in case someone has DIY'd her plumbing on the house at some point and they're using something different, that's why I recommend always take a picture with the camera and a tape measure. But yeah, whatever standard isn't always standard, right? Because there's always some joker that comes along and modifies something somewhere, and I don't want to give advice that doesn't work. Look at this. You're getting some love here. Matt's doing a great job.
Well, that's from mom.
Well, I guess that's kind of your mom says you're doing a great job, I guess. And for everybody who's wondering, the other day we did a raise money for Matt campaign, and you guys were ridiculous to spoil him, and I did match it, and I did send it to him, and I had to convert it from American to Canadian even. Mm-hmm.
And I split it with my brother.
Yeah, and he gave half of it to his brother. He's such a sweetheart. All right. Okay, folks, let's just get back on the topic here. I am 10 minutes left. I'm going to do this for another 10 minutes. Is it mandatory for plumbers to wear steel-toe shoes? No, but it's normal. And for most health and safety, yes, it's mandatory. I'm not a big fan of steel-toe shoes, but, I don't know why that's even a question. Let's take some calls and answer some real questions. Here we go. All right. Hello, it's Jeff. You're on the phone. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Jeff. This is Sam calling from Maryland. I first wanted to say thank you so much for all the videos you post.
Hey, my pleasure.
Phenomenal. I'm just a first-time home buyer, and bought a home that's like 1965. So puking my guts right now. Worried that on fixing it. But getting to my question, I have a bathroom. Well, if the home has a bathroom upstairs, the master bathroom that has one of those old 1990s or 80s shower that has a radio and all that, bells and whistles and basically that capsule of the shower.
Don't touch it. That's vintage.
Don't touch it.
That's vintage. I'm just joking.
Get it out. I want to get it out and want to see if I will be over my head to get it out and redo the floor and basically turn it into a regular shower or even put a
all right.
tub
So
in it.
I'm going to give you some advice here. Are you ready for this? Have you ever painted a room before?
Yes.
Have you ever installed flooring before?
If I have done what?
Installed flooring of some kind.
No, I have not.
Okay. Have you ever built anything like with a saw, like measured and cut lumber and?
I am in construction industry, but I'm project management, but I haven't done it with my hands.
Okay.
People know what to do, but I haven't done it myself.
Have you ever done any work with plumbing or electrical?
No.
Okay. So yes, you're in over your head, but all that means is you got a lot of videos to watch.
Okay.
So when it comes down to it, there's basic skills for most of what we do. Okay.
Right.
Renovation is two sides. There's understanding your products and systems and assemblies. Okay.
Right.
And then there's the practical application of using the tools. So as long as you know how to measure and cut, you can do most things related to the construction. The only areas where you need artistic skills are with drywall and with painting. And in most cases, there are products and systems on the market that'll help you cheat and get a pretty reasonable result. So being in over your head really comes down to, are you fooling yourself when you're doing something into thinking you're doing a good job? Because I once, a few years ago, went and fixed the flooring for a viewer who watched our videos and put it in his own flooring. And it was atrocious. Like, he'd made so many mistakes, and he was denying the fact that he's making mistakes while he was putting it in. Okay. So really it comes down to everything you do, you got to be completely happy with and have confidence that you aren't making a mistake to move forward to the next step.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's about, don't be delusional. If you've got what it takes to do the step, then do it. If you want to practice separately, practice. And if you're having difficulty, then ask for help. All right.
So I guess the first step is to give it a good old, good try and see.
You can always do the removal. You can always gut something and then start from there, right? And then if you're in over your head, you can always become a member of the channel. And for just a few bucks a month, you can send me pictures. We can talk about assemblies. I can give you a little guidance.
Wow.
So that option's there.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I didn't know about that, but I'll definitely check that out too.
Yeah, I can be a temporary coach if you need it. All right.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations on the new house.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Once again, we're trying to take calls from people living in Texas, but hey, since the phone was quiet, I decided to entertain that. So whatever. Jeremy has joined the membership program, and if I'm not mistaken, is that a dog in that picture? My God, it looks like a beast. That's amazing. All right. Hello, it's Jeff. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Jeff, this is Robert from Katy, Texas.
Robert from Katy, Texas. How are things for you, Robert?
So-so.
You sound like a real optimistic fella going through some stuff.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Don't lie to me, dude. What's your situation?
Well, okay, so my main water line coming into my house, the valve basically has a pretty big gash in it. It's leaking water. So far, I try to hold it with some putty or cement. That's not working.
Are we talking about, before we go further, the valve at the street, or do you have a valve on the inside of your house?
No, the valve, it's on the street. So
Okay.
basically from the main water meter
Yes.
coming into the house, there's a valve there,
Yes.
and it goes into the house. So there's a pretty big gash in there, and it's leaking water. So far, it's holding, but we've been turning off the water and use it as necessary, basically.
Okay, so when you turn the valve off, does the water stop leaking?
Yeah.
So the problem is actually on your side of the valve. Ah, wow.
So I can see the valve actually split. Like I can see it.
Yep.
And actually it happened overnight. Just when the temperatures went down, it just happened. And I can see it.
Yep.
So okay. So basically, I measured from the water meter coming in to that valve. It's a 1-inch regular PVC.
Okay.
And then from the valve into the house, it appears to be a 1-inch CPVC.
Yes.
So basically, again, all the Home Depots here, all the Lowe's, everything is sold out.
Yes.
Essentially, plumbers are buying out everything, and
Well, it's just supply and demand. So somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. Yeah.
So what I ended up doing is I ended up finding a website online, and they're saying they're going to deliver it on Tuesday.
Okay.
But I found a website and I ordered 2 things, and I wanted to check with you to see if those would work for me.
Wow.
What I ordered is a 1-inch shark bite ball valve, a CPVC ball valve.
Okay.
And I also ordered a 1-inch, it says CTS to 1-inch PVC shark bite transition coupling.
Okay.
So my thinking is that I would use that coupling to transition from the 1-inch 1-inch PVC from the main meter into a CPVC pipe, and then I would plug that in to the ball valve that I bought, the shark bite ball valve, and then I would plug the other side to the CPVC going into the house. Would that work?
I love how well my brain works at this part of the day. It sounds like you've got it under control. Is the water supply that you're dealing with, is it a T? Is it a tee off? Do you have like a valve that's teed off the main line in your green box, or is it just that's the line from the city and then it becomes the line to your house?
So the line from the city coming from the ground, it's attached to that. It's some transition that they have when we first bought the house going into the valve, and then there is a CPVC T that's going inside to the house.
Okay.
So the valve that's currently there right now, on one end of it, it's going into regular PVC, which is the main water supply, and on the other end of it, it's a CPVC going into the house.
Yeah. So here's the trick. Do you have everything you need to do CPVC repairs? You got the primer and the solvent?
Yeah, I found some neighbors were gracious enough to give us like a 1-inch.
They had a piece of pipe, did they?
I have like a couple of feet of CPVC, and I also was able to find a coupling, a CPVC coupling.
Perfect. So then now I'm feeling a lot better about what you're doing. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're going to be good. Nothing wrong with using a shark bite in that situation. Okay.
So you think they will hold no problem for a main water?
Yeah. Here's what I know about shark bite. The more pressure you use in the line, the better it holds.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You ever seen a Chinese finger puzzle?
Yeah.
Same principle. When you try to pull your finger apart, it actually holds on tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay. So it's the same thing. So the more pressure you have in that line, the better suited it is to do the job.
Got it.
Right. So there's no fear there. Now, the only thing is there's a lot of plastic and metal combination in the fittings. So if you get weather again, what are you going to do underneath the lid of that box at the street?
I wasn't planning on anything. I was just
So you missed part of the video.
The transition.
You want to have a piece of insulation that you put in that box if it ever gets cold again. Because you put that on top of your valve, and now you create a thermal break from the cold outside and the ground temperature. And the ground temperature
when you
keeps.
Say a box, I don't have a box. Like it's exposed.
Oh, it's all exposed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing is exposed, and you
Okay.
forgot to wrap the valve. We never thought that you could wrap a valve.
Yeah.
That's what ended up freezing and basically bursting.
Yeah, even if it's ugly, even if it's like a couple of bats of fiberglass pink and some gray duct tape, make sure you wrap it up next time. Okay? Yeah.
Understood.
Okay, perfect.
Appreciate it.
That's even better because now you don't have to play bent over in the dirt.
That's right.
Not so bad. All right. Well, cheers. Yeah, you're going to be fine, man. Okay. Oh, that's good that's the only problem you've had. At least it's outside the house.
So far.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Now listen, if you have any water restriction issues, okay, with your if you notice after you're all done your work that your faucets aren't working properly, your shower is not hot or cold like it used to be, I want you to come back and watch this video again. The first 20 minutes or so of the presentation was how to clean out all of your shower fixtures from all the screens and all the dirt and all the cartridges, because there's a lot of crap floating around the water supply line right now. And people are calling me up going, I just can't get as much hot, or the tap isn't working like it used to. Everything's just dirty. All right. And so you might run into some of that too. And this video, at the beginning of this video, will have that information for you. All right. So cheers to you.
Okay.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
All right. It's 6 o'clock and I'm a glutton for punishment. I'll take one more phone call if somebody out there is dying to get in. All right. So feel free. Oh, yeah, I'm from Canada. I'm from Ontario. I'm from Ottawa, dude. There's only one Ottawa in Canada, isn't there? Pretty sure. I mean, kind of be wrong to have more than one since it's the nation's capital. Oh, my goodness. All right, here we go. I'm out of questions. I'm out of time. The phone's not ringing. All right. That guy sounded military. Yeah, well, you know what? Cheers to every one of you. I'm telling you right now. All right. I'm going to call it. Guys, we'll be here again tomorrow. Ho, ho, ho. You just made it in under the wire. All right, I'm going to take the call because it'd be rude not to. Hello, it's Jeff. Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Charles.
Hey, Charles. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear. What can I do to help you out?
So, quick question. There's a jacuzzi tub that I have that's on the outside wall of the house.
Yep.
It seems as if the motor where it meets up to the pump, it sprung a leak. The access to the motor isn't big enough to actually do anything.
Yeah.
It's only really able.
It's only good for wiring.
To visually check it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in that case, how do you usually fix it? Is it worthwhile to pull that tub out and fix it that way, or scrap the whole tub altogether, or what would you say?
Is it a leak where there's like a fitting and then a pipe, and it's like cracked? It cracked open, or is it like? Is it a solvent crack issue? You think?
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Have you tried running it so you can visually see what's going on?
Yeah. It's when it runs, it's just a slow drip, and it seems like there's like a
slow drip, eh? Okay, so if it's a slow drip, that means that there's like a hairline crack or something.
Okay.
So don't use it for a little while, but I want you to get your hands on. It's called it's an epoxy plumbing putty. All right.
Okay.
You buy it in a stick. You cut it off. You roll it up like Play-Doh, and you can wrap that whole area where the crack is. Press it in with hand pressure, okay? And then it's actually kind of what they used to use on old cast iron pipes when they would transition to the lead stem to go to the toilet. They'd use that kind of a putty. Now, we've used this as an emergency repair on all kinds of situations. So if you only have a drip, that'll be more than enough resistant pressure to hold back a drip. I would say I would try that first. And leave that trap door open and keep an eye on what's going on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Throw a plastic container under it. Babysit that baby for a month or two, or maybe even a year. But man, I would do everything I could to avoid having to yank it out. But you can definitely lay on your side and reach in there with a rolled up piece of putty and wrap that joint and give it a good squeeze and let it dry and see if it works.
All right.
If it works, hurrah, right? $10, good and go. If it doesn't work, well, then you're going to have to pull the sucker out and have a good look at it and do some part replacement. But yeah, that's definitely an option.
Is there any way to pull it out without? I'd have to probably pull the tile out.
You got to pull the tile and everything. Is it a drop-in jacuzzi?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's an older style.
It's an alcove.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then you'd have to pull the tile because the jacuzzi comes with an integrated tile flange, and the tile is going over top of that flange. So now you're not just pulling out the tub, you're pulling out the tile, you're disrupting the wall surface. It's a hell of a job, man. That's why I'm saying I'd try to epoxy that bugger myself first.
All right.
All right.
Hey, man, I love the show, man, and keep up the great work.
Hey, cheers. Good luck to you. All right, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, now we're definitely done. We're pulling the battery. Yeah, you know what? It ain't the best advice in the world to try to fix something that's leaking. But if it's just a drip and you can get that epoxy putty on there, you're going to be okay. And and if I could buy 5 or 10 years without having to rip my bathroom apart, you're damn right I'm going to spend $10 and do that and not start all over again. You can't fix every problem in life by spending 10 grand, right? Who's got that kind of money? Well, some people do, and they're cool. Yeah, there you go, Ron. JB Weld putty stick. You damn right. That's the stuff. I couldn't put my words together properly, but if you're using the same brand we are, then it's all over the place. Now, if Home Depot sells it, then you're good to go. If not, check on Amazon. Check your other suppliers, right? I'm sure you got somebody around there with it. That's awesome. Guys, thank you so much for everything you've done. Hey, there we go. Chocolate's in the house. Yeah, most helpful YouTube channel ever? I don't know. I got to love those cat videos. They always make me feel so good. All right. So cheers, Matt. Thanks for helping out tonight.
All right.
Yeah, cat videos. They save the planet.
I'll send it there.
If you're dealing with the mess, at least you're not alone. You got someone to call. Tomorrow we're going to do this again. And we're going to change the theme. What is the theme for tomorrow?
Well, what's next after you dry out your walls and you fix your plumbing?
Rebuilding. But I think maybe tomorrow let's focus on steps to avoid having this happen again. Because while it's fresh in everybody's mind, I'm going to go through a checklist for you so that you have a checklist moving forward. The next time you get this weather, I would doubt very much it'll be this year. But while it's top of mind, let's put together a checklist that everybody can use so that next time you get a crazy winter storm, you can just take the few minutes, go through your checklist, and be more prepared so that you don't have to be a victim. All right? That's it for now. Cheers till next time. And what do I say? If the girls don't find you handsome, at least they find you handy. Yeah? All right? That's awesome. You got to hit the end of the stream there, buddy.